So good afternoon. Thank you everyone for being here for our June 1st Opportunity Partnership meeting. We'll begin the meeting with a roll call. Ms. Rita.
Sharon Allen, Alicia Burns, Dr. Douglas Craddock,
Present.
Dr. Kevin Field, Jennifer Hancock, Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins,
Present.
Patrick Hilton,
Present.
Sheriff David James, Darlene Johnson Jones,
Present.
Dr. Gabriel Jones Jr.,
Here.
Dr. Mary Milliner, Michael Nagel, Lennon Pryor, Christopher Romaine,
Present.
Desmond Smith Jr., Smith, he's trying to log on, Reverend David Snarden, William Summers,
Here.
Gary Williams, Secretary Jeff Knoll,
Here.
Jeff O'Brien. How many short form?
We just need one name.
Okay.
The fact that we currently don't have quorum, we're going to go to non-voting items on the agenda. So the first thing we'll move to is public comment. So for any guests in the room, this is the opportunity for any comments as it relates to the partnership, community interests, or anything of that nature. We'll start off virtually first. For any individuals home virtually, you're more than welcome for any comments.
No one.
No one? All right. Individuals presently in the room, comment. You're more than welcome to at this time. Oh, none of y'all had? I'm just waiting. All right. So on that end, we got a full agenda, so we'll continue to move forward. With that, I will lean it to our CEO for any comments she has.
Thank you, Dr. Craddock. I just want to indicate that we do have a jam-packed agenda today. Thank you all for your attendance. I want to note that Jeff, who is the Board Development and Governance Chair, is not present with us today. Her mother is seriously ill and she's been devoting some time to being with her mother, so she will not be here. When we get to her report, I'll do a very brief update for her. The balance of the meeting is going to consist of two presentations from Travis Fox and his team, Opportunity. And again, these have been reviewed and recommended to the full board by the Finance Committee.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So within that, we want to shift to our committee updates. So I'll be right back with you.
Okay. So last Wednesday, the Board Development and Governance Committee had the opportunity to interview several candidates for the neighborhood board seats. Those interviews went very well since we're still in the middle of them and there are others that will be on the schedule. We do not have any conclusions for you today, but we're happy to report that the process has officially begun. Sounds like we have some type of echo, but we'll let you know. We have some type of echo. We'll let you know this.
Thank you, Ms. Douglas.
You're welcome.
Next, we'll shift to a community engagement committee report by Ms. Darlene Johnson Jones.
Hello, everyone. We're working new reports out. We have a plan for a partnership day that Trevin and Devontae are working on. And it seems to be pretty good. We haven't done the date yet, but we will be getting information out. So we're looking forward to having a good time on partnership day. That's what we're doing right now.
Thank you, Ms. Darlene. So we now have quorum, with Dr. Field, so we'll move back up to, from our last meeting. So I get a motion to.
So move. Second.
All right, it's been first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, minutes have been approved from our March 30th meeting, 2026. Next, we'll shift to our finance report.
Thank you. And we did, that finance committee meeting that, we do have some things here that, the full finance committee has recommended, to the board. First, the evidence of the March and April financials. We have the, balance sheets and we have income statements that have been sent out to you, and, the finance committee went over, both for, both the months of March and April, and had some questions, but everything was answered. So we're comfortable with recommending those for approval. On this group, if we had any questions about the balance sheets or the income statements or any other financials, I want to be able to, for you to have those as well. If not, then I would, there has been, the finance committee has recommended for approval, so we just need a vote to accept the financials for March.
Thank you.
We just need a vote, so you want me to handle this?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so all in favor of approving or accepting the financials from March and April, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those minutes are accepted. Now, one of the things that we are looking to do is to, as we put together, budgets, is getting that funding cycle. Organization, that type of organization. And I think that Travis and he's worked with
Justin Harris at Crow.
At Crow, and they put forth a cycle recommendation. And we, the finance committee, again, did want to recommend that for approval. Do you want? I would still like for you to go through that, and then after you do that, then we be prepared to vote on it. But if anybody here has any questions, we want you to be able to get those answered as well.
While Travis is going up to the podium, let me say that Justin Harris from Crow is not with us today because he had a long-standing vacation break on his calendar. But he has been constantly in the development of the information that Travis is going to present today. So this is Justin's recommendation from Crow to us. And I want to remind board members as well that this really is the culmination of a discussion that the board has had, both in the finance committee and with the full board. We kind of previewed this idea of having an application cycle and looking at the importance of having a maximum amount during each cycle to invest for both loans and for grants. So we are coming back to you with the culmination of all of that work.
Thank you, everyone. As Laura and as William stated, Crow has been looking at the thing that the partnership is at this point and recommended a cycle be put in place. So we're going to do the exact same exercise that we did during the finance meeting, which is to give a brief update on where the program is at this moment, and then the cycle recommendations that have been researched and provide those recommendations of what it could look like for the partnership, and then give you, as far as a finance that will show the ebbs and flows of funding as funds go in and funds go out of the partnership. So we'll start with the summary itself, and some of you have seen this before, but this is just a brief overview of what's been done thus far.
Travis, I apologize, but before you start, I just want to add one more thing. for the board members, when this matter came out of finance and the way it's going to be proposed today by us, is that we're looking at a process that we're recommending for the next 2 years.
Yes.
We're not asking you to commit to this for the rest of your natural life. We're saying 2 years, and then it will come back to the board for review.
And one of the reasons we're doing that, we feel like that we'll have money coming from the TIF cycle, so we'll have more information and like a history. Right now, we've been based upon organization in there, but after the 2 years, we'll have history, and then if something needs to be tweaked, then we can tweak it.
So funding roughly started at the beginning of 2025. So within less than 18 months, the partnership has funded 15 total initiatives spreading across the 9 neighborhoods for a total of $12,009,549. By year expended in 2026 and 2025, I'm sorry, $8 million. Over $8 million was approved, expended thus far is just under $7 million. In 2026, $2.9 million has been approved to date and expended thus far as $800,000 with $2.7 million pending. Approved all time again is just over $12 million. Carried over from 2025, approved in the finance committee meetings was Louisville Black Media, Center for Neighborhoods, Sowing Seeds, and Reland, which was $2.9 million. And this number is important because when we mentioned the cycle and the funding cap for the yearly funding cap, you'll see that this number is already built in on top of what's being recommended today. So thus far, per neighborhood, you see that almost every neighborhood within the 9 historic neighborhoods has received funding from Sharper Futures to Platinum Shears, which are mentoring programs, to Good Brothers Pharmacy, to housing developments such as the Housing Partnership, Inc. and Reland. So again, this year, the board has approved $699,000 total from finance. So post-finance total will be 3.7. And today we would have all 3 of these, but one has withdrawn. So the 3 here, Rebound is no longer a part of this equation, which we'll show that again later on. So far, every neighborhood, again, we've received an application from each neighborhood, with Portland and Russell leading 20 and 13. Overall time, there's been a request for over $76 million, $39 million in grants, $36 million in loans, and $1 million in an equity investment. And the types of applications that we've received is 15 small business, 25 nonprofits, and 25 traditional enterprises. Traditional enterprises are just organizations that have been around and a little more sophisticated and a little bit more. This pie chart shows the 41 active applicants that are in the pipeline as of right now: 18 traditional, 13 nonprofit, and 10 small business. And currently there's $38 million currently being asked for by those 41 applicants that I mentioned earlier. 38 million, I'm sorry. Over 31 million in traditional enterprises, over 5 million in nonprofits, $1.4 million in small businesses, which the majority of those nonprofits are grant requests. The average scores, as you all have seen over the last year and a half, some of the smaller businesses and nonprofit, the scores were down. As we know, we rate the community impact, the narrative, the organizational information, and we compile all of that. Over time, those scores have gone up. Now you're averaging at least over 70 points per score. And as far as certified minority business, women-owned business, and that disabled businesses, 7 applicants are MBE, 1 WBE, DBE, and veteran-owned businesses thus far. Any questions on any of the summary? Yes, sir.
Why do we give grants to traditional businesses?
No, we didn't give grants to the traditional.
I thought it had but when you did the college.
May have been the request was,
Oh,
asked, but it was a nonprofit business.
yeah.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the actual cycle recommendation. Set up. Grab my water here. It seems like it's online, so we'll move on. Oh, yes, sir.
So maybe not a question, but brief comment. First, I would say on behalf of all of those that have been impacted positively in this 15-month window, thank you. And this is a great report on behalf of the community. Can't say it can't, because always concerned about getting off to a start with the partnership administering its programming. But in 15 months, you've been very transformational. So you get an A, you get an A, you get an A. I mean, this is awesome. Just one question though, going back to the neighborhood analysis map.
Mhm.
I know this is right, but I just want to be certain. The Park Hill, Breland is either close to or within the Park Hill neighborhood.
Yeah, it's right there on the Algonquin, so it's, yeah.
So you gave
Park,
credit
yeah.
all to Algonquin.
Yeah.
And Park Hill neighborhood
And then-
benefits tremendously from that investment.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to bring that up.
Yeah. And sowing seeds with faith.
And investment. If you want to dive into that, we're
Always meddling.
And sowing seeds with faith is in that same area, and they're attributed to Hallmark, which is a part of Algonquin, basically. Any other questions? All right.
Where's
So-
some seeds of faith at in that area?
Just south of Algonquin, basically on the southern border of Algonquin.
What's the address?
Address with me right now, but
You can get it later. You can go.
yeah, I would
3701 Cane Run Road.
3701 Cane Run Road. I think Tammy is muted.
She said.
I'm just no. I'm just trying to see where that's at.
Oh, okay.
That is my district, and I'm very familiar with sowing seeds of faith, and I don't know of them having any location in my district. But
Yeah.
you can find it later. I'm great walking.
Any other questions about the summary itself? All right. So the purpose of this funding cycle comparison is to provide comparable funding cycle models that can assist the partnership in establishing a predictable intake, review, evaluation, and funding framework while supporting effective pipeline management and strengthening stewardship of future tax-based revenues. So basically, what engaging with we went with similar organizations across the country, and including right here that did basically economic development and impactful lending and grant funding. So the Kansas City Affordable Housing Trust was established back in 2018, and they too started before when they began their funding, they started without a cycle, but within a couple of years, they put a cycle in, and they've been going strong since. Louisville Affordable Housing Trust, of course, as we know, they have a rolling structure application and underwriting model with 2026 guidelines. So they have what they've done, they've set an allocation for the year. So that, oh, it's open all the time. They set an allocation that we're not gonna go over this certain amount. City of Las Vegas Neighborhood Partners, their annual application cycle begins in application, full application. Review and approval, culminate around June or July, awards dispersed in June or July. They provide grants up to $10,000, $80,000 total is their pool. The Chicago Neighborhood Opportunity Fund has a rolling application as well. The applications are evaluated quarterly. Next deadline is this August. Grants are up to $250 and up to 75% of eligible project expenses. So again, they have a cap that's set in place. And the Washington State Housing Fund Trust, since 1986, they funded over $2 billion, 59,000 units. They specifically fund housing. They have an annual competitive application cycle. So their cycle is just once a year. So what Kroll is, and again, Justin is out of the country as he did in finance. What they're recommending is the structure would be a spring cycle and a fall cycle. Starting the application window will be January 1 through March 31st, and fall September 1 through October 31st. Staff finance and review would happen in April and November. Board action would be the June board meeting and the December board meeting, closing again. And contracting would be in June and January. So you execute right after the done. This creates a predictable annual rhythm for applicants, staff, finance committee, and board. Provides a dedicated review period to evaluate, advance, defer, return, and remove applications based on readiness and alignment with program priorities. Makes annual cap management cleaner and easier to report. Best fit for the partnership due to improved management of existing funds while preparing for expanding city and state-based revenues. So some of those revenues that haven't been realized yet, will get things in order as the funds begin to come in. Support annual funding caps tied to tax-based growth. Some of the cons, of course, there's always some cons with things. Applicants may feel restricted if they miss a window, which means that this is going to require a strong PR push to get that information out there, to work with those groups and help them get their applications in the same way we do now. May need an exception process for board-initiated projects. So it has the ability to do their own projects, so there may need to be some type of exception put in place if the board were to decide that they wanted to initiate a project. And board agendas, of course, may be heavier in June and December as well. So the immediate 2026 transition recommendation would be may present to the funding cycle framework, annual cap concept, temporary intake, pause the finance committee, which was done June board meeting. If adopted, and authorize staff to manage the existing pipeline through defined disposition categories. In June, use a dedicated review period to categorize pipeline items as approved, conditionally approved, hold, denied, or removed. In July, that it would come before the board to bring forward unresolved or final funding decisions if needed. In September, launch the new fall cycle, of course. So again, this is not a slowdown. I mean, this is not shutting things down. This is purely for governance and portfolio management. And then there's the sources that were researched to come up with the actual comparable programs. And we're going to go next to the actual finance strategy, which will show some of the revenue coming in, some of the revenue coming out. If control put in place where it can be, but not put into place where it will be. Any questions on any of that as she pulls up the next doc?
Yeah.
So right now, from an application to actually funds being distributed, what's the average time that we're having on those?
Average was about just over 6 months, right? Yeah. So some have gone reland, some have been completed in 4 months. I believe HPI was one of those for Gateway, but it depends on the information that's received and how fast that turnaround is on information that's requested. So it's more of a process instead of a timeline.
Yes.
Yeah, Travis, I just want to add to that, the opposing strategy or bold strategy, I don't know, Mike has some things, some concerns around it, was the most equitable ways to make sure that funding flowed in an intentional way and a strategic way as well. So we're still in the infancy phase of the partnership. If you think about the length of the partnership being established. So that 2-year kind of assessment and evaluation period to see if this works well. And if it doesn't, we'll come back, reassess, evaluate, and put something else in place as well. So this is a starting point, but not and it's really where we want to be eventually to make sure that the community is getting everything it needs and deserves on behalf of REOC. I just want to add that too.
But I do think that it's something that the organization needs. But it, like I said, it will be each week if we find out that it needs to be treated based upon the information.
Travis, why don't you start now with what will occur if we do not take any action?
So right now, these numbers that are plugged in are just model numbers, which are very generous. That would be fantastic if you could slide back over. If the TIF funds come in at 1.2 million and grants and fundraising comes in $150,000. So if you were to keep that and increase steadily over the next 5 years, you would see that right here, you begin to roll up a little bit more. So if you hear that 7.2 million and 1.2, that's the amount that I mentioned earlier, because the recommendation is a $5 million cap for loans, a $1 million cap for grants. So that's including what carried over. So this would be 2026. However, if you did this number here and then 5 million there, and these are just model numbers that are dropped in, still thinking in the end, years down the road, you've had over minus 12% decrease and only $7 million left. And that's with the understanding that this is coming in. And as of yet, that hasn't been realized. So you can scroll up a little bit more down to the bottom. So these are the funds that's been brought in. Keep going. So right now, this year, TGOE, HPI, and Russell Place of Promise are being considered today. Elder Serve has been approved for $100,000. If that cap was put into place for a $5 million loan cap, there will be over $3 million left for the rest of the calendar year for loans and $650,000 left in grants, which the grant amount having the ability, if not realized, be moved over to the loan amount, which at that point is almost $4 million for this calendar year alone, with remaining after all of this is done if these are approved today. Any questions on the model itself? Yes, sir.
I have a question on the TIF revenue projection at $1.2 million. Can you explain what that's based on?
Well, we know that a certain amount was received, but it was ago, it was close to $500,000. So that's just saying that if this begins to increase and the tax base begins to increase, a generous amount would be just over $1 million, considering from the state and the city and the increase in the tax base.
Yeah, and just for clarity, that amount that he mentioned that we've received was only the state portion. We also have a city portion to come. We haven't received any of it yet, and it's broadly expected to be about the same. So that's where it comes from as well.
Yeah, well, it just points to the need to be clear and intentional with this board and this organization to fund initiatives that do increase the tax base, because not doing that is kind of working against the sustainability of the partnership, which promises to generate TIF revenue that should be increasing, not staying flat. So we're investing in business base. And so I think as we evaluate proposals, that needs to be looked at closely to make sure businesses are indeed raising the tax base. And in saying that, I want to qualify, I'm not talking about raising the tax rate, not increasing taxation on people, But businesses that, by the nature of their business, they're generating more revenue, they're creating jobs, all that adds to the tax base. So we just need to.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Any other questions on the model itself? All righty.
But like I said, man, this proposal was made, and the finance committee did recommend that. But like I said, if anybody has any questions, you've seen it. I appreciate your comments, Dr. Fields. But if anybody has any comments or questions, yes, sir, Mike.
I represent at the finance committee. And I'm fine with the caps. The issue that I have is with the funding cycles. So I reached out to a couple folks in Portland. One is actually considering applying or maybe has. And I didn't. Her response was, this looked like it's structured more for grants for nonprofits rather than for small business. A small business initiative could fall apart with the wide windows for application, finance review, and then board approval. So longest term, we're looking at, 6 months for approval. And, the numbers that were shown earlier, 1.4 million applicants. So we've got $140,000 average. I think if we move forward with this, we're going to exclude a lot of small businesses or lean towards people with long runways or deep pockets. The analogy that I've come up with, that I think everybody can wrap their heads around, imagine yourself and somebody comes and says, here's my offer, but I'm not going to get bank approval for 6 months. Would you take that on? And that's the position that we're putting, the businesses in, that they may have an opportunity, but this isn't going to work for them. So I think, this affects, the Good Brothers and, a lot of the job creating places that we want. And I think some of the most transformative for the neighborhood as well. So I think that window, either we need a carve out or we need, a tighter window for those organizations.
Well, 2 points. First, to William's point earlier, it'll only be a 2-year cycle for now. And the other is, thus far, within this 15-month window, there's been 15 small business applicants that we've worked hand in hand with. Some moving them along, some not moving them along. The lift on just regular articles of organization, insurance, and having the time to get to it, that type of thing. So there's been a challenge there for small businesses, and we'll continue to work with them. Corinne, can you just run off a couple of the barriers that we've ran up against with some of the small businesses?
Yeah, sure. So we have had 15 small business applications, 1 awarded, that's Good Brothers. 1 was located in India and wasn't going to move in. 1 didn't want a loan, they wanted a grant. And 1 changed to nonprofit. They opened another wing and just recently reapplied. A couple of them, 2 are on hold. 1 is site control. Haven't yet gotten site control in the funding area. And then another one was just their busy season. They couldn't get around to getting the application items in time. We've got 9.
Go ahead.
6 awaiting action, and those are like the business formation. Some haven't even filed their articles of incorporation. Some of them don't have the proof of deed or the lease on their location proving that the funds will stay in West Louisville. A lot of it could be outdated insurance. And then essential project documents such as permits, zoning, work quotes. A lot of those things have become time barriers for the small businesses. 3 of them are recently documentation, and that is still site control and those essential project documentation, again, like work permits and zoning. So that lift has been an issue for a lot of them.
Thank you,
Michael,
Corinne.
man, I do appreciate some of your concerns, and I appreciate you going to the business. But I just think I think that, again, this is just like a start, and if we see that we need to make some adjustments with that, I think that we can, but to this point, I think, I don't see that all that it hasn't caused that, and, you know, some things have been funded, the cycle has been about that long anyway, so, you know, again, but, we need that information. And then, like I said, if we see something we need to adjust, I think that we can.
One other thing to offer up as well. What our experience has been with these small businesses who are ready to go forward have never been their only option in the bucket. If you encounter a small business person who is serious about developing their business, they have several possible lines that they are following simultaneously. You rarely see a small business just going after one source of funding. So those that are ready to go forward have cast, it's not just us, they've reached out to other sources for funding.
And we'll continue to work with those small businesses. We're not gonna abandon them. Like Corinne, the list she just rattled off, those small businesses have quite several of them have been in the pipeline for quite some time. And we reach out to them, they say, I'm busy, I'll call you later. I gotta get to this project, and we follow up again. So they're not going anywhere because we're not going
Anybody else have any questions? Sir?
So if somebody applies on March 1st, they're not going to be done by March 31st. So you're still working with them, and then they just fall into that second cycle.
to that second cycle. Yeah, yeah.
And so basically, there's no one allowed in the pipeline from, June to, or April to October.
Right, which during that time, just like now, potential applicants reach out, have questions, we do Q&As, and we prepare them, and then actually, we make it a better application at that point. Specifically from the small businesses, if they have time to
I'm going to
prepare.
have something for you to do anyways.
So, any other questions, comments? Like I said, the finance committee, is there somebody on there, is somebody on there? Dr. Curtis,
Yeah.
anybody?
This is Gabe. I just had a quick question. So, I'm sorry. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. In addition to providing, some organization and some structure for applicants to be able to be in cadence with, it also seems like this limits our ability to be nimble with regard to some of those deals that may be time constrained. And I'm wondering how responsive this will allow us to be to deals that may be time bound and that may need that addition to a capital stack in a time sensitive manner that this might close us out of.
I do think we did say that there could be some exceptions. So we would, in those type of instances, and, we'll see, because like I said, man, we want to help businesses that are going into these neighborhoods that are going to increase the tax base. So if we have something that, hey, we automatically say you got to fit, hey, let's try to get this. I think we are still nimble where we could do that, and there could be an exception. But I do think that we need guidelines set so everything, that everything won't fall into that. And I think that once you have a process, organizations, businesses, they see that process and they align with it. But to your point, some exceptions where if we move faster for some reason or needed to, I think that if all documentation, I think that we could still do that. Any other comments, questions? Dr. Credit, yes, sir.
If we create exceptions willy-nilly and setting ourselves up, claims of favoritism.
That's why I would hope that if we had to do those exceptions, that there would be something that we really didn't fit into the process. So then, we would have to do that. But so you know, I don't want to go in. Hopefully, we won't have a lot where we will have to create exceptions. But I think it's prudent to have a process that if indeed we do that, we can. Any other comments, questions? You know, if not, this was sent for approved by the finance committee, so we just need to take a vote. All in favor? I mean, Dr. Craddock, do you want us to take a roll call vote on this, or do you?
I feel like it's too contentious. We don't have to take a roll call.
Okay, well then, all in favor? Is there any opposed? One opposed. Okay, man, I appreciate all the comment and, you know, yes, man, but this is a 2-year process and we will look at this because we don't want to have a process that is not going to be good for the small business that we're trying to serve. So we'll look at this and it needs to be tweaked. We can. Right along. The next thing that we really need to vote on is the contract with our Nimbus PR marketing agreement. Essentially, this contract didn't change. I think the only thing that there may have been 3% increase, which is market, in my opinion. Nimbus has done a great job for us, and we think that see where we started and the PR where we are now. You know, I hear a lot more positive things and people are getting our story out. You know, you see all the loans and all the grants that we have gotten out there. I mean, that is truly having an impact. And Nimbus has been very good on getting that information out and working with us doing that. So again,
Yes, it's $875. That's based on market inflation rates and things of that nature. That's why we brought it here.
Yeah, so I mean, does anybody have any questions about that? Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's this is the same agreement that we've had the last a little bit more than 12 months.
I think that we've had it for a month that we had.
What's the question? Says,
2025, but it's rolled over into 2026, so been a year and a half.
So it's about, it was 150 and now it's 154, some change a year.
Yes.
3% inflationary increase,
Yeah.
that's all.
3%.
So under section 3, it was included. Second to last bullet, there's website updates and stakeholder communication. That in the last agreement.
They created the website.
yeah.
Well, yeah, they work with our web developer. We handle that through
They're
Nimbus, yes.
responsible for updating the website.
We, as a team, they work with Honeywell. You know, everything through Nimbus when we need to do that.
For instance, on the applications for grants or loans, if we get feedback from those that are seeking to fill out applications, that there's some difficulty at some input point, the Nimbus works with Honeywell, the web people, to make a fix that's appropriate and addresses the need of the public. And it's a fix that's going to be conspicuous, easy to use, etc.
So I was looking at the website around noon today. And if you go to the news section, the last article was from April 3rd of 2025. And the partnership announces first recipients of funding to enhance West Louisville, and is talking about the Delta Foundation, a lot of projects. And then if you look at the meeting notes section, the last update there was in March of 2025. So like all of our board meeting notes, the recordings, none of those are getting updated. So I guess I'm confused on, was that included in the previous agreement? And are we gonna expect that to be the new one?
It was included, right, and those meeting recording, that's on me in terms of working with the members team. Based on what we supply them, so we are working and we have been here to get all that caught up.
But in the meantime, what we've gotten from Nimbus is a television campaign to highlight the partnership's existence in 9 neighborhoods. Gotten the tour that we did for public officials. We've gotten more assistance on electronic communications to the public.
Social media platforms.
Via social media. We get advice from them as needed. It can be many times a week regarding addressing public questions that have been brought up. They're constantly working with the web people to respond to concerns that people who are coming to visit us on the web may be having. They've worked with Travis to help streamline that application process where applicants have identified a glitch, something they don't understand, et cetera. So their work with us has been invaluable. And what this request approved by the Finance Committee was seeking to do is to just simply give them what is an ordinary 3% inflationary increase in their fee.
And to Mike's point, probably do, can we work on that, Mr. Richmond?
Well, here's what I would say, that's a good point, in my opinion. So one of the things that, look, they do a lot for us, but maybe if they can attend some of the meetings, if they attend this meeting and then, I think that then maybe they get that information and it may not be as, because you're doing a lot, everybody's doing a lot too, and they waiting on us to get that information. So if they're here, I think that could help if they attend some of the board meetings. So in that they see what's been approved and what's going on there. Because
William, let me just say too that with regard to Nimbus, we meet with them every Wednesday. So they are informed about applications that have been approved, small businesses, nonprofits. They get right on it in terms of the social platform. With regard to the updates on the recordings, that's 100% me, totally responsible, okay, in terms of getting them that information. We are working, we prioritize things that are the important things that need to get out. Anyone who contacts us who want a copy of the recording, they contact me directly until that can get updated. I've had one person to reach out to me who wanted the recording, but I agree with you, Mike. They need to be updated, and it's been a while. So we get that done by this meeting for you in particular.
And one other little suggestion, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it may make more sense for us to continue to utilize the current process that we have, where Rita is responsible for contacting Nimbus and doing those on our webpage, doing those updates, rather than to have Nimbus to come and to participate in the meetings and then to do the posting themselves. Rita's far less expensive than us asking them to do that. The only issue, as we keep saying, is on timing, just being a little bit more vigorous about passing that information.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, though, Mike. I appreciate it.
As a neighborhood rep, this is the number one thing that I get asked about. I went to the meetings aren't there. We generate news every meeting, every month, every post. So, if we're sending press releases to the press, they should be on our website.
So Let me tell you something, I think, Laura, really, sounds good, let's make sure that we get that done.
Absolutely, absolutely. Here.
Any other questions, any other comments? Now, just need a, vote. So all in favor of renewing Nimbus's contract for the 26-27 year, marketing with the PR marketing. All in favor? Any opposed? That motion carried. Justin is not here. Chip, he was no longer able to be on the phone either. So Travis, I'm gonna throw it back to you so you can talk about the funding request. Now Rebound is no longer here, so we just have two, HPI and then Simmons.
So before I'm gonna go to HPI and Russell Place of Promise first, but before I do that, I owe you the address that we pulled up on the system was the original address. Sowing Seeds of Faith is in the Baxter Center now, in the Russell neighborhood.
I'm like, it's not true. I know my district very well.
Yeah, so that was that's part of working with that applicant, because actually that address is a little outside of the footprint. So they have their lease at the place. We got that. All right.
Thank you.
Little housekeeping. All right, so we'll move on to HPI and Russell Place of Promise. As Corinne pulls it up, the Housing Partnership, Inc. and Russell Place of Promise, their project is the Elliott Street Single Family Development. The funding request is for $1,287,000 loan. The structure is a 3-year term at 4% interest. The leadership we work with HPI's leadership is Andrew Halls. Andrew Halls brings over 3 decades of experience in affordable housing development, leading HPI's strategy, finance, and community partnerships. Under his leadership, HPI has expanded its footprint across Louisville and the state while maintaining a strong focus on equity, affordability, and long-term community impact. Russell Place of Promise is led by Cassandra Webb, and I think Teresa just had to leave. She was there. So Cassandra leads community engagement and resident focused initiatives with background in youth development, housing, and violence prevention. Teresa leads place-based development strategy and experience in redevelopment, public policy, and housing finance. Again, HPI was founded in 1990, and we know what they've done. Over 10,000 housing units, served over 50,000 families, recognized as exemplary by neighborhood worker, a member of the Housing Partnership Network. HPI leverages strategic partnerships to deliver housing solutions while advancing community benefit through job creation, service integration, and neighborhood investment. Russell Place of Promise, founded in 2018 as an incubated initiative of Cities United and Louisville Metro government. Russell Place of Promise is a mission-driven 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to advancing Black community levels. Russell neighborhood with sponsorship for Community Foundation of Louisville. Our POP, that's Russell Place of Promises, so known by, built its early foundation by securing resources, developing partnerships, and expanding organizational capacity before incorporating in Kentucky in 2023 and achieving public charity status in 2024. Our POP operates as also a nonprofit community land trust. That's what this specifically. CLT model designed to create permanently preserve affordable housing while promoting long-term community ownership, shaped through a multi-year resident-led process. The organization centers shared leadership and accountability to people of Russell. Through this approach, Russell Place of Promise invests in both people and places, supporting residents, faith leaders, community-based organizations, and businesses to build Black wealth while ensuring development without displacement. Project overview. So the Elliott Street project is 25 homes, single-family homes on the block of the 2400 block to 2500 block of Elliott. The project is designed to activate vacant land, stabilize residential blocks, and expand access to affordable homeownership in a historically underserved resource area. Developed in partnership with ARPA, the project utilizes a community model in which land remains nonprofit ownership while homes are sold to residents through long-term ground lease. This structure ensures permanent affordability, reduces displacement risk, and supports long-term wealth building for homeowners. Homes are projected to be priced approximately at $175,000 and targeted toward first-time home owners between 50 and 120% AMI, supported by home buyer education and layered. So Mike, during the finance committee meeting, how do traditional financial institutions interact or engage with community land trusts? We asked our applicant about that, and they provided some information, as well as some information we did some research on with Fannie and Freddie. So Fannie and Freddie are usually lean into working with CLTs because of that. Their ground lease is for 30 years, what that would be. So they don't feel like that they're going to be, on the short end of the stick as far as defaulting on the loan or something like that. And then if something happens, the CLT, the land trust, Russell Place Promise will be there. And also they ensure that that property remains affordable throughout. So financial institutions can finance CLT homes through a leasehold mortgage structure. When the ground lease protects the lateral position and the requirements, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac both recognize community land trust mortgage structures, provide an established framework that supports mortgage lending while preserving affordability. RProp's approach is designed to reduce lender uncertainty through the use of long-term ground lease, alignment with national recognized CLT standards, and proactive lender education. This structure supports mortgage access, long-term affordability, and sustainable homeownership along the Elliott Street. This is Elliott Street here. Russell Place Promise, the CLT itself controls 25 of these lots. 2400 is not one of theirs, but everything else in orange is the areas where they'll be building brand new homes there. You go ahead, spread.
Question, Trav?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just got a couple questions real quick. Okay, so, and I'm just respectfully gonna ask it. So has the project been funded
Here,
the housing, metro government?
they're part of the capital stack, but all of it is not funded by that. And the capital stack we'll show in just a minute. They're a portion of their capital stack.
And I'm asking because, how long has this project, been since it started, since it was first funded through housing? Because this project is for quite some time, and it's not that I would love for this block to be, revitalized. It really needs it. So I definitely support it. I just want to make sure that it gets completed.
And they've actually started on 15 of those houses now.
I'm up and down there all day long.
Yeah, and I've been over there.
But I'm saying again, like you're saying that they've actually started, right?
Yeah.
But from me following this project, I would have thought that they should have been started because they've been had funding to start this project.
Right.
So what I want to, be for certain of is that it is going to get completed.
Right.
That is my concern, right? It's not that I support it. We definitely need housing. I just want to know what are they going to do and not even just complete it. So I don't know who's project. Okay. So I want to know from a standpoint that how is it going to get completed and what are they going to do to secure this area, because this is a very underserved area that definitely needs the housing. But what are they doing to protect this investment, even for themselves? Because this area, I see some fences around it, but like this is an area like kind of like Hemlock. Like when you go in, it has to be really to protect. You have people all day long, going up and down the street, stealing stuff. I think that has probably been one of the biggest reasons, like when they start a project, people come in and burglarize it, and it makes the process slower and slower. And I don't know if that's what happened, but I just want to know, what are they gonna do different
Right.
this time than the first time, so we can see the project through, because it cannot fail. We want this project to get completed. But I just want to know, what new are they gonna do
Well,
different?
some of the holdup I know was all of the funding was not there, and they were going after some funding, and there was a bit of predatory lending there because of the type structure of the project. So they came to the partnership to have a more functional funding that they could actually work with. And as I said, they have a very aggressive timeline. Building has started already. They're looking to complete it by the end of 2027. And actually, you could scroll up some so we can go to the timeline.
Well, let me tell to Tammy's. So if this money is awarded, is there anything that would stop this project from being complete by the end of 2027?
No, the project, with the funding from the partnerships, the project will be fully funded and nothing's gonna stop it.
Yeah. So some of the funding and some of the money in their capital stack, but not all of it. This helps complete that and helps pay down some of that that debt that's interest rates are a bit high.
And the other added ingredient is that, by virtue of the fact that the partnership is going to be making a loan, Travis will be on hand to do what he does with all the projects that are funded by the partnership. He can visit, he can understand, talk with them directly. What are the pain points? And he can be part of developing a solution, which is how we customarily do. We don't just lend the money, but we stay there through the long haul. And let me add this as well. When I talk all the time about growing up in the Russell neighborhood, those of us in West Louisville, we know what you're talking about, Tammy. We know what Elliott Street is, these points where the house is going to be built. We know what the story is. The magic ingredient here is that we have an opportunity as a funder to work with a neighborhood that will have a literal stake in those houses. They will have a stake in the real property going forward. They will continue to be involved on behalf of that community. It's a model that's revolutionary for Louisville. I'm not aware that that's happening anyplace else in the community, but this is this project puts Russell on the map, and we're proud, if the board votes positively today, we're proud to be a part of that progress going forward.
And I agree with that, but I got a big different solution. I'm a diehard Russell, like about your background, Russell, but I didn't really want to hear that from you. I really wanted to, no, I didn't need to hear that from you.
Dr. Gabe has his hand raised.
I'm gonna support it either way it goes. They're gonna get my vote either way it goes. We need housing, right?
Yeah.
And to be a part of the partnership, and whether Travis was following it or not, I've already been following it. I go down there every day. I see what's going on, and so I just need to. Once I heard it from them, I'm good. You know, I just,
Dr. Gabe has his hand up as the Russell rep. He has something to say.
Dr. Gabe, you're on mute.
Got me. So I will, of course, be abstaining from this vote because I am on the board of RPOP. But I think it's the case, Amy and Laura, am I allowed to still engage in discussion or answer any questions?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So thank you. So one of the things that I think is really important about this project is that even before I was on the board of RPOP, this particular initiative is something that Russell neighborhood residents had been engaged in from the very beginning. And it is a part of the reason that I wanted to be on the board of RPOP, because of the work that I saw they were doing and how intentional they have been about engaging community. One of the things that I think, so right now, just for context, I live on 23rd Street, which is literally one block over from where this development is. So I really deeply understand the concerns that have been raised. One of the strategic things that I think makes this really beneficial is that the residents and the RPOP team decided collectively to start with a block and maximize investment in this particular block to build that collective synergy, so that there are people there, so that there are eyeballs there, so that there are new homeowners that are building and collectively working together to stabilize not only themselves, their financial situations, and their housing, but to stabilize that block and to look after each other. One of the other things that I have noticed about this in particular is because residents have been so deeply involved throughout the process, that residents have active ownership over this process, and that residents themselves are looking after this block, are walking down the block, are driving that way to see how things are. And it's one of the reasons I'm really excited to see how many houses are nearing the end of their construction process right now. And I think the last thing I'll say is that I do know all too well that things can happen on construction sites. People can take things. I also know that that happens just about everywhere, especially right now. And so I think that that doesn't represent something that is unique to Russell, even though Elliott and that particular block does have a strong history of several different challenges. I think several strategic things have been built into this process by residents to overcome those.
Thank you, Dr. Gay. One more bit of proselytizing on my part is I also think it enormously helpful that AHI is the partner with Russell on this project, because they are pros, they know what they're doing. They've been doing this kind of housing development for a long, long time and have a fantastic record. So this project, I think, gives us an opportunity to do something forward-looking and to partner again with a developer that is committed and knows.
I had a couple of questions, but I did want to start by joining my colleague, Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins and Gabe Jones, by advocating for this project, not just because it's in Russell, my neighborhood, but because this is a much needed investment. And I think that my two questions, one is for the partnership and one is for AHI. This project, what really intrigues me about it is the block level revitalization has been stated. So this looks like a real example of a project that will elevate the tax base in this district in Russell. And so my question to the partnership is, how do we project on that? You know, how do we begin to estimate the increment coming from this investment? Is that something that we look at a lot, or we just curious about that, because I'm going to continue to advocate that we got to make this TIF concept work from a sustainable revenue standpoint. And block level investment is a great way to do that. So that's my first question. Anybody want to answer that?
Well, I would think that we would get with the accounts, but part of the TIF would be property taxes.
Yeah.
So with those homes, whatever those assessments are, that would increase. But it may be tough to project that until you really know exactly what the homes are going to go for and what kind of taxes is going to be generated from that.
The only thing we can base on historical values of $175,000 in that area, the taxes are based on that.
Which is a good basis.
Yeah.
You know, those houses don't exist. That property is not generating tax revenue now. And so once the houses are built, you know, that revenue be. And so that the kind of the estimated values, and certainly to be based on what they actually sell for. But I just think that that's a good case study example of being able to measure the tax increment coming from this level, the scale of investment. So I want to hold on
But
to
that
that.
goes back to your point of making those investments and we will see that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my second question comes from a point of because I have family ties in that block. They're one of the few stable homes in that block. there resides a family member of mine. In fact, that home has been a part of our family for over 7 decades. And some of you may know my cousin, Daryl Van Cleve. He's a Louisville legend, AKA the Lover. And so Daryl lives in that, one of the few stable homes in that HB. What are we doing to help invest in existing homeowners in that neighborhood that may need to elevate themselves along with the new construction in that same block?
I can answer that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we're doing, we have a repair fund that we're working with the current homeowners on the existing block. Excuse me, in the blocks that's around it, because we don't want the current homeowners that are living on these blocks and these blocks that are left out. We're concerned about what's happening around them. We want to make sure that they feel a part of it and that they understand that we're not just worried about building new homes, but we also worried about the existing homeowners as well. So one of the things that we're doing is we're going around. We've been canvassing the neighborhood for the past couple of weeks to talk to various homeowners to let them know that we are here and available to them, whatever repairs that they need for their homes.
Yeah, and we currently have 20 homeowners in the pipeline to receive up to $24,000 in home repairs per homeowner.
And that's very important standpoint, because if we are having new homes and hypothetically say they are going for $175,000, but then the older homes and he decides to sell and then they go for less, then it brings them based upon comps and it creates, so that's very important to make sure we work with those homeowners. So we make sure those homes are in good shape and those values, they will see the appreciation values coming in here, and everybody will see appreciation. Because it's a scenario where when it's not, then it goes back, well, the last home that sold was less, so then they don't appreciate. So that is very important.
Absolutely, and that's why we wanted to be intentional to make sure we supported existing homeowners, because it just helps elevate everyone up in the neighborhood at the same time. Those home repairs will be completed by the end of September, and we with New Direction Home Repair Fair program to be able to implement those.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns? Michael.
You brought up TIF contribution. Don't hold me to the math. If I remember all of the specs of the project, it's 25 homes at 175,000. We estimate taxes around 1%. I think it's 43,050,000 annually. And over 20 years, that's going to be about 875,000. And this is a loan, so they're going to pay it back, and we're going to get $40,000 annually as potential TIF money.
And that's in the community. So that's.
Thank you, Mike. That's the kind of analysis. That's great.
Just go on and take his space. Go on and take this.
Still good.
Anybody else have any questions, comments?
I like what you all said. Thank you for letting me know. We didn't know this was over.
He's our assistant director.
Okay, good.
No, I was just gonna ask the same question that you just asked. Was there any other questions? If not, we'll just show the capital stack that you asked about. And then we'll go on until the pay schedule and you all can put it to a vote. So the projected funding, as you mentioned, Tammy, that they did receive, this project has been around. Right now, their total project is costing at $8,788,390. The partnership would fit in the capital stack at $1,287,000. Currently, all of their funding has been realized. The partnership would come out at the sale of the 11th house. They're forecasting right now to begin selling in beginning of 27 and end selling at the end of 27. However, if that doesn't work out, then they're asking for that 3-year term, which that changes the interest, of course. So over that, if you go just by the houses themselves, then it would be approximately around $61,000 worth of interest. if you go by that 36-month term, starting still at the 11th house, but then spreading it out over the 36 months, then you're roughly at about $100,000 in interest. So the partnership will, not only to your point, Mike, since it's a loan, receive funding from the TIF funds, but also from the interest on the loan itself, and it being a short term, longer than 3 years. William has said several times, you like that more than the longer ones. So that's pretty much, I mean, the market analysis, and we all know the housing need here. So I don't think we need to pontificate on any of that. But if you have any other questions, I'm more than happy and so glad you all are here as well. So
I do have one more question.
Yeah.
So I guess my next question would be, once each house is built, are you gonna partner with anybody like the Urban League or anybody to try to get somebody right now in the process to get them to purchase these homes so they just won't be sitting, like that, or working? You said you was working with the community just to see people that are home ownership ready, or just getting them up to that point, getting their credit scores, instead of just waiting until the house is complete and then trying to find somebody for the house, trying to like early in the game.
The process, but I'll let Tom talk.
Yes, yes. So HPI, and not just being a great partner in getting this development in these houses built, but also they have readiness programs, homebuyer readiness programs, that we are pushing people to, as well as Urban League has been a partner. We sponsored a few of their financial bid and their homebuyer clubs. And we have folks in the pipeline that are interested in purchasing a house in Russell. On our own, we've also community land trust ones, because this is a different home buying process than just regularly purchasing a house on the market. So we've done maybe 4 or 5 of those so far, Colby. And those sessions are also available virtually for people to learn more. So we have been doing work to get people prepared. And we're planning to do some more work around getting folks in the home buyer pipeline, doing lender orientation work. We've already had a session with the realtors, NAREB, with the Black Realtors and Brokers Association, and we'll continue those relationships. Those things. Thank you.
And HPI, I believe you all also have some buyer assistance programs, correct? Yeah, so can you go to that portion? And Patrick, if you like, you can even explain it a little bit, because that makes this project even more unique.
Yeah, so I'm Patrick Cornett. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of HPI, and Shanae Moreau is my colleague. She's the Director Single Family Development. Shanae is really the point person on the development side of the project. Yes, we do, as mentioned, we do have 3 HUD certified housing counselors on staff who've been with us for a really long time. They're very competent, qualified. But we do, in addition, I think you may have been referring to down payment assistance.
Yes, yes.
So the project is very well funded, especially with the money from the partnership. The Metro Louisville is committing $750,000 of down payment assistance to the project as well. And the housing partnership is by FHA, like mortgages to home buyers if they need additional assistance. So we feel pretty comfortable being able to sell these houses.
Anybody else have any questions, comments? Appreciate all the discussion. Like I said, the finance committee has recommended approval of this. So we really just need a vote. So all in favor of AI and the RPOP funding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, looks like that motion carries.
For the record, we do have one abstention from Dr. Gabe, is that correct?
Yes, we do have
That's
one.
right. That's right. Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Even though we know he's for it, but he Right, so we have another proposal, Simmons College of Kentucky.
So next up is Simmons College of Kentucky. The leadership, as we all know, Dr. Kevin W. served as senior pastor at St. Stephen Baptist Church, the largest African American church in Kentucky and one of the state's largest private Black employers. For a $500,000 grant, which will be structured in $250,000 disbursements. One is this calendar year, the other $250,000 disbursement will be in the second calendar year. The project itself is for, sorry, can you scroll back for me? It's the project location is at 718 44th Street. The
PowerPoint.
It just says
That will be the last one that it is. I promise. Yeah. We've got that going on.
So it's the Westover campus. I'm sorry. Mine went blank for a minute. I apologize for that. So it is the Westover campus, of course, organizational background. Simmons College was founded in 1879. You know, it's this state's first historically Black college established to expand access to higher education for African-American citizens in post-Civil War era. Today, Simmons serves as an accredited institution and a key community anchor focused on education, workforce development, and expanding opportunity. Supporting this work, Dr. William J. Simmons Foundation, 501c3 nonprofit, was established to advance the college's long-term growth as fundraising and financial steward for the Westover campus STEAM hub. So that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. The foundation manages the coordination and deployment of philanthropic resources, ensuring strong financial stewardship, accountability, and alignment with community and industry standards. The project overview itself, Simmons College of Kentucky is advancing the Westover campus STEAM hub, a transformative initiative that will deliver community-based programs in science, technology, engineering, and arts, and math. The project is designed to expand access to high-demand career pathways while addressing the persisting gaps in representation across key industries. Each program area will incorporate dual enrollment opportunities, early college exposure, and strong industry partnership. We have to go down some hands-on learning, our classrooms, training, software and design, equipment and space for hands-on innovation and project development, high-speed internet, VR simulation capabilities, and dedicated data center, STEAM workshops, mentoring, tutoring, and career exploration for K through 12. Project budget and timeline. This is just some of the models for it. The project itself, project assessment is at $32 million. Planning, design, environmental assessment at $1.5 million, site preparation at $4.5 million, interior construction at $9.5 million, technology infrastructure at $4 million, exterior renovation, academic programming and faculty hiring, program implementation, and workforce partnership. The funding request for the partnership, phase one is site improvements for the $250,000. So that's the concrete, asphalt repairs, the flagpole itself, the landscaping, and the lighting. Phase two will be historic preservation, exterior masonry, tuck pointing, and related facade restoration and preservation work. This phased approach ensures early site activation while preserving the historic integrity of the campus. The capital stack thus far, Louisville Metro has awarded $1.5 million. Appropriation Center has awarded $850,000. The partnership is being asked for a grant of $500,000. Stockyard Banks has committed $237,000. The community impact, of course, the Westover campus STEAM hub represents a catalytic investment in West Louisville, advancing workforce development in high demand industries, increased access to STEAM education for underserved populations, expansion on career engineering, healthcare, aviation, and the arts, long-term economic mobility and neighborhood revitalization. Simmons College continued growth and leadership positions the project as a scalable model for aligning education, workforce training, and community development. So,
I know you got that. Look, Simmons and Dr. Cosby, they're doing transformation impact. So let me tell you something. This $500,000
It's nothing.
we gotta support our HBC. Because with AI coming, this is something that is very needed. And like I said, I went to their graduation. Cornell West was there, he spoke, and the students, this was the largest graduating class. The impact that Simmons is making in the community is so powerful, and going to continue to even get more powerful, more impactful. And they need these dollars to continue to be able to support the students with the education and the things that they need. So, I mean, Tammy, I know you.
I don't need you speaking for me.
Yeah.
You sounded like Miss Margaret Russell. I don't know if I need to abstain from that because Tim Simmons, Simmons has been a life changer for me. It just really has. I talked to Westover because I do have a portion of Chickasaw in my district. I think putting this school in the West End speaks volume for the West End, for HBCU. And I just am really surprised that they're just asking for what they asking for. I thought that this project would have deserved so much more. I mean, the community wants it. And just being right there and just people being able to get to it. You know what I'm saying? And just everything that they have to offer, just all the way around the board. So, if I'm able to vote, but I do want to be transparent and let you all know that I do, I'm going to be in my last year. And it has been an amazing experience going back to school. So, so I definitely highly support this and recommend that everyone else does too.
That would not be a reason you have to recuse under the statute.
Okay,
But
I
if
just
you
want to
feel
be
like you need to, that's.
Oh,
but
no,
you don't
I'm
have
definitely
go
gonna
with the
vote.
statute.
But I just, for transparent reasons, I like to, tell where everybody's role is, whether if it was something that I supported or even something if I didn't. I still want to be candid on where I stand.
Let me Dr. Gabe and David James have their hands.
Okay.
Hi, Gabe.
Yeah, I'll be very quick because I do not want to get in the sheriff's way. Y'all hear me? My first question, is, can you remind me where this is located?
Yeah, the old Rising Church in Chickasaw.
Okay. And then I think my connection broke up a little bit. Am I correct that it's two $250,000 grants?
Yes, Dr. Gay. And to your point, Tammy, I've talked to Simmons about this. After the second disbursement, they can apply right away again. We already have their information. Nothing should hold it up.
It's for $500,000 over 2 years. So 250 and 250.
Okay. And my last question is, so I know that we've had sort of maybe like an unofficial cap on some grants. Does that process represent something that when we move towards this new structure, that people will be able to apply in that new funding cycle for ongoing funding in this way? So they may be able to submit one application for $250,000 this year and $250,000 next year on one application in one cycle?
That would actually be even more helpful because then that would spread it out over 2 calendar years.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Cool. Thank you.
Sheriff.
Who else is, David?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say that I agree with what I've heard everybody else say, but I just want to say that Simmons College of Kentucky is Louisville's HBCU, and they are changing lives every single day that they're doing work in our community. And I believe this is the kind of project that WEOP was designed for, and I fully support it.
Dr. Bill, I just want to ditto Chairman Summers and Woman. Okay, will be abstaining from this vote when we're considering it. I will be abstaining. Honored to be working closely with the leadership at Simmons on some program development initiatives, one of which I want to share. We have an opportunity, the algebra project, but for that reason, I just want to abstain. Certainly support the project.
Do we have any, I mean, we got some Dr. Smith there, we got Bright here. You guys want to say anything? You just want to give you a.
Eager to say thank you.
Well, I mean, we ready to take a vote?
Ready to go? Yes, sir.
Oh, I just wanted to say very quickly that the history of this location is that it's the old Christ the King Catholic Church that itself was excited and pleased to be able to transition that property to Simmons, and that the people in the Chickasaw neighborhood who live in the area immediately around where the Simmons location will be are ecstatic about having Simmons in Chickasaw.
So this has been recommended by the finance committee, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
On abstention? Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Frank, you can take that.
Thank you.
William, one last thing. You asked during the finance committee, the enrollment from the West End currently, of the 610 students in the spring enrollment, 82 are from the West End. So that's over 10% of the students.
We finish here?
Yes, sir. We good. Appreciate you, Willie. Thank you, everybody, for your patience and going through those votes and contributing mighty to the community throughout that process. Appreciate Travis and all the work that you and your team are doing as well. Next on the agenda is just old business. Anything to discuss, matters at the heart. I don't think anything is prevalent on that end. New business wise, just thank you again. So we have 2 more meetings on the books. So we also have our executive committee meetings. So those are opposite months of our general meeting. So we'll have information come out of those in our next board meeting. Just making them aware of that. And then for another new business, Kevin, you said you want to share something briefly?
And I'll be brief, mention the outdoor project at Simmons. I would like to indoctrinate all of you to help us with advancing that initiative. We're mobilizing the community in a grassroots way to advancing math alike. And it begins with working with high school students this summer, engaging them in a week-long intensive math literacy camp. So we'll follow with literature. We're mobilizing 2 groups. I do want to thank Chairman Craddock for hosting us at University of Louisville as a part of this experiential learning. But you'll get more information on that as we recruit students and volunteers.
All right, anything else on adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
We're neighbors.